What's up guys? Today we're checking out the Propel Batwing, and this is a little micro quadcopter that actually flies really well for such a unique quadcopter design. It is the Batwing, of course. So let's get into the review and check it out. Propel's Batwing. How is this one gonna fly? Actually, it flies pretty well. It has somewhat of a odd shape for a quadcopter, obviously. It is shaped like the Batwing, meant to fly like the Batwing. Has this proprietary battery, and I'm getting about 5-minute to 6-minute flights out of this one. Not exactly sure what the milliamp hourage is on this. It takes about 45 minutes to charge, and it does have, obviously, a proprietary charger. Little bit of a bummer there, but that's kind of the way they seem to be going with these quads, and it's got this little clip here that kind of holds it in place when you put it on here. So you have your transmitter, and it comes kind of like as a square thing, and then you add these little, I don't even know what you call them, handles on here. I guess it's supposed to look more like a Batman type of thing. I don't know. So it is it's a small controller, definitely not your standard Nano, but it is very serviceable. So no big deal there. On top, you're gonna have your speeds, and this one has 3 different rates. Gets pretty quick in the 3rd rate. This is like a dummy button, and so is this one. This calibrate button is gonna calibrate your gyros. So you set it on a level surface or something like that, and it'll calibrate. And then you got your stunt button, which will perform your flips. And you can fly this one as a 3-channel helicopter also. Haven't messed around with that. I like to stick with the 4-channel quadcopter mode. And it does come with these prop guards, but I have never even flown it with these. Probably if you're new, definitely put these on, and they're gonna go on like this, and you know, save you some props and make it a little easier to land and stuff like that, but I haven't even put them on. One thing of note, these do have the clear props that mount underneath here, but that also makes them very susceptible to popping off in any sort of crash and even a hard landing. So I actually have lost all my spare A props, and these are the A's on these two. If you have the quad upside down facing you, it is the upper right and lower left are the A props, and the lower right and upper left are the B props. And you're gonna they're labeled clearly A and B, and you're gonna wanna put those to the corresponding motors. I did look in my manual, and it must have been telling me to put them on with the quad facing this way, but I just assumed that, you know, you were gonna put them on the way the quad flies. So make sure, you know, as it's upside down here with you, you put the A props on upper right, lower left, and then the B upper left, lower right. So hopefully that saves you confusion, because when I first put mine on, I put them on wrong, and obviously the quad didn't take off. But that's neither here nor there. So let's get it in the air and see how this one flies. I'm gonna put this down here in a fairly level. Let's put our prop guards down too. And we're gonna turn this on, no on-off switch. So you go up and down on the transmitter to bind it, and then it should be bound. And I usually hand launch this one. You got your LEDs, these are like a white LED here in the front and a red in the back. Very difficult to see, so they're not going to really help you too much for orientation, or it's kind of hard to see your LVC also. But this guy does look pretty cool in the air. Definitely if you're a Batman fan, you're going to enjoy this one. And it flies pretty well. So let's put it up in the air. And we are on the 1st rate here. No real special things with this one other than it looks like the Batwing, obviously. That's the draw to this one. It's kind of the Batwing flying around in the air, and definitely looks super cool when you fly it like right above yourself. But obviously be careful when you're doing this. It's kind of almost like the bat signal in the air when you fly that right above you. So this is the low rate. Very docile in this low rate. Let's give you a yaw test. Pretty slow. I think it changes a little bit on the rates Let's bump up a rate here real quick. So this is the second rate. Yaw doesn't really seem to change all that much on between the first and second rate. And the pitch and roll doesn't really seem all that different between those rates. But this one definitely looks super cool flying in the air. And you know, you hardly notice these props because they are clear, but they do have a tendency to fly off, as I mentioned. So here we are on the second rate. Let's go right to third now, and this gets a lot faster in the third rate. And I also find that if you get going super fast for too long, this one will kind of get into like an uncontrollable forward motion and you can't pull out of it. And I've crashed it a few times doing that. I don't know if it just a little bit underpowered for the body style that it has, but I've crashed it a few times doing that. So definitely be careful when you give this one forward pitch, full forward pitch. I'm not gonna get super aggressive. I'll play the clips for you of my crashes after my flight here, but I'm trying not to lose my last A props here. And one of the reasons I've decided to do this review now. But look how cool this thing looks in the air. I mean, come on. Come on. It's the Batwing flying around in a micro quad size. Look at that thing. You barely see the props. It just looks like Batman zooming around. Looks like Batman met Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and they shrunk his Batwing too. And he's out there fighting crime with the Smurfs or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna stop. So let's give you some flips here. This one does flip fairly well. So there's back flip, forward flip. Let's go roll side and then the other side. So it flips pretty well. Takes it maybe a split second to recover, but really nothing major. This one will fly very fast though. It is a little bit on the loud side. Definitely when you fly this one indoors, it is on the loud end of the spectrum, so definitely be aware of that if you plan on flying this one indoors mostly. But it does have quite a bit of power to fly it outside, you know. I wouldn't fly it in any sort of super windy conditions, but it can fight a little bit of wind. So Propel makes some pretty solid products, and I would classify this one in that category also. Obviously, the draw to this one is it is the Batwing flying around, so it's going to appeal to Quadcopter fans and obviously Batman fans. So, and it flies pretty well. You can kind of do a little funnel here. Drifts a little bit with the funnels, and they're not super tight, but you know, for what this one is, it flies pretty good. I've been pretty impressed with this one, other than the fact that the props come off fairly easily, and you could probably alleviate that by putting the prop guards on if you wanted to, but me personally, I like to fly without them. Gives you a little bit better flight time and improves your flight characteristics quite a bit. But this one looks super cool just zooming around in the air. There you go. Gotten that forward drive. I saw my props just go everywhere too. And that's the other thing about it. It's hard to find these props because they're clear. And like I said, they do come off very easily. But we might be done here. Did all of my props come? All of them but one. Look at that. Oh man. That's no good. Let's give it a little. We got 3 props to find. Can't be good. Oh, there's one. So this one's a B prop. Of course it's going to be a B prop because I've got all kinds of spare B props. Dropping it. Oh, there's another one. So we got one more to find. And normally once you knock props off like this, they don't tend to stay on very well. Oh, it's another B prop, of course. So if I lost that A prop, we are done. We are done for. Dunzo. I saw one, I thought it went over. Oh, there it is. Whew. Found our A prop. Okay. So there, that gives you a little idea when you get in that little death. I don't even know what you call it. It's not a spin, but the forward pitch of death. Let's call it the forward pitch of death with the Batwing. So definitely be careful when you give this one full forward pitch, because it tends to, and I don't know if it's a wind thing. I don't know if the wind slightly picked up there and I didn't notice it, but didn't really feel like I was going all that fast, and it just got in that, like, you know, crash state, I guess, kamikaze state. It caught the divine wind and just went straight into the ground. Props went everywhere, but luckily we found them on this one. So let's give you, let's try to go right in the sun here and do a little bat signal type of deal. Come on in here, buddy. Come on in here. Let's go back. Come on. Hurting my eyes, but hey. Look at that action. And you know, it doesn't fly terrible. Flies pretty good, especially for having definitely not your standard quadcopter design. And you get a decent flight time out of it. Price on this one is, I picked this one up at Kohl's, and you know how Kohl's is, everything's always on sale. So it was listed at like 60 bucks, which I definitely wouldn't pay 60 bucks for this one, but you know, it was on sale or whatever, and it was down to like 40. Which is still a little bit on the steep end, but I figure if you're walking through Kohl's and you see the Batwing, you're not gonna not buy the Batwing, right? But I've also seen this online at Toys R Us and what have you for like 35 or something like that. And that was the end of my battery life there, I think. Yep, we got LVC here. So I could feel that the quad was losing power, so I just kind of beached it so I didn't lose any props. So I'm gonna have to call that a fairly successful review, because my average of losing props with this one is not very good, but we made it out of this review with all 4 props mostly intact. We got a little chip on this one here and probably some of the other ones too, but it is still flying, it's still in the air, and there you go, there's your bat signal. Call in Batman, we need his help. Anyway, this one's definitely not the greatest flyer, but it is the Batwing, and that's going to appeal to collectors and Batman fans, and it flies pretty good, to be perfectly honest with you. But obviously there are a lot of quads out there that fly better, but you know, I think this is more of a collector's item than it is, you know, you're gonna go out and fly this every day for fun. But it is fun to fly also, so it is a little steep on the price though, but you know, it's Batman, so that's gonna add some money. You know, everybody's got to get their cut of the Batman franchise. Hope you guys enjoyed this video with the Propel Batwing here. I picked it up at Kohl's. It is available at Toys R Us and other major retailers. So if you're interested, check those places out. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but it is Batman. It is the Batwing. Merchandising, everybody's got to get a piece of the pie. So you're paying for kind of the premium brand here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. If I missed anything with the Batwing here or anything at all, hit me up in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hope to see you in the next video. Until that time, happy flying and try not to crash and burn. That's a problem. Hope you guys enjoyed this video with the Propel Batwing here. I'm spitting everywhere. It's available at most major retailers. I picked mine up at Kohl's. I know it's available at Toys R Us, probably a few other places as well. So definitely check it out at your... What are you talking about? What?